Hey, Battalion Nation.
We have a live show on location.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're going to have trouble getting 2 points.
Brought to you by Sports Illustrated Tickets and Happy Dad Beverages.
Well, we are live, pals. Troops Trio is proudly sponsored by the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Moose Cookhouse, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight. It's a special edition of Troops Trio as we're recording this right ahead of our live watch party from the Fox and Fiddle. Big shout out to the Nathan Toss, for having us here tonight. We will be bringing you our thoughts during the intermissions live right here on the North Bay Battalion YouTube channel. So stick around, not just for Troops Trio, but for the Battalion and the Bulldogs Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. We've got a ton of guests on today's show. Bob worked overtime around the clock today to get those interviews, so let's jump right in. Bob's here, Ranjan's here. Guys, let's reflect on the North Bay Battalion beating the Peterborough Petes. What a series that was. Where do you guys rank that in terms of memorable playoff rounds since this team moved to North Bay?
You know, we were talking about this yesterday amongst ourselves, and it's got to be at the top or near the top in terms of excitement and competitiveness. I mean, 3 overtime games, 6 games, so they actually played a 7-game series. They actually played more than 7 regulation games, and it was, and that was one thing, the length of it and the excitement, but also the back and forth in that series, the momentum changes. I just loved it. I think I'm up to date on my sleep that I lost.
Yeah, no kidding.
From Game 6 on Saturday night, but yeah, I mean, I know I talked to Coach Oulahen, and he's got it near the top as well in terms of excitement that he's been behind the bench for. So, but for me, as far as competitiveness, exciting series, I would say it's number 1.
I think it's no, it's not number 1.
Not number 1.
No, not number 1, but pretty close,
Pretty
and
close?
up there. And what I was so excited about was the big crowd, 3,800 plus,
Yep.
lots of new fans seeing the battalion maybe for the first time, kids sort of getting wrapped up into it, families getting involved, really good atmosphere. Credit to the team to make the Bort Longyear Memorial Garden such a welcoming place for families. So it was just such a great effort, and winners know how to win. And Ethan Procession, I think that goal maybe the most important,
The game time
magical goal in franchise history. 6 seconds left. You don't want to go back to Peterborough for a Game 7. We could talk about that, what we think could have happened there. But yeah, just a fantastic performance by the captain, by everyone up and down the lineup contributing to that win. And I think just the explosion of sound was just made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up.
And as Ryan Kujawinski has gone down in battalion lore for his overtime goal, I think it was the second period, right? Parker Vaughn will be remembered forever by battalion fans for his series-ending goal in Game 6.
You're right. This is the Kujawinski goal, I think, like you said, Ranjan, for a new generation of battalion fans, I think, right? Like, I think about my son. He's turning 9 this year, so he doesn't really even remember the 3 runs to the Eastern Conference Finals, even though they only happened just a few short years ago. At his age, right, this is where he's really starting to get into his fandom. So this is going to be the one that he remembers more than any of those other ones. And yeah, you're right. Like Parker Vaughn just being in the right place at the right time, sneaking into that play. You got to give the shout out to Dubravtsev for finding him on that. I think it was, he went into the corner and had a little bit of a fake, and I think that split second threw Easton Rye off just enough to leave that opening over his shoulder. And Bob, we talked about this before we came on the air, and it's, when you've already played 4 full periods of probably the most draining hockey you've played in your life, that split second makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Well, what I noticed was in that play, there seemed to be like a pause. Dubravtsev had like his own almost time for a picnic lunch in the corner, and because that's so rare, obviously, in a playoff series. But you just, you slow down mentally for just a second, half a second, and they lost Parker Vaughan as well, and that ended up being the winning goal. But the Petes had ample opportunities in the overtime. Of course, you were telling me about the Jack Lisson and the
scramble play,
and that could have been in the net. I mean,
yeah.
So
plus the 2 penalty kills, Range, that was wild.
Big PKs. Did you credit to North Bay Battalion, the marketing department, who put out those Instagram clips? There was that one clip of the Parker Vaughan goal where you see it from above. You're looking down on.
Shout out Owen DeRosier for getting that shot.
I don't know how he gets those shots, but it was a fantastic. If you have Instagram, I'm sure you could find it. I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
And so you can watch Dubravtsev winning a battle against Novotny. Novotny drops a stick. Dubravtsev walks out from the wall, has options, like you said, Bob, finds Parker Vaughan, and just the camera work from above on that Instagram clip is just mind-blowing.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to mention so as I'm wrapping it up and I'm going through the stats of the game and the 3 stars on the PA, all the photographers wanted that shot below, and they were like almost edging me out of my microphone because they wanted to make sure they got the as the team gathered and congratulating each other at center ice, and they wanted those shots, which they obviously put on social media, and I think it was the cover shot of the on the web story as well.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Owen was telling me after the game, I was waiting for the coach and the players for my post-game interviews. He said that he had actually stopped recording on his phone about 5 seconds before Dubravtsev got the puck over to Vaughan, because there was a long sequence before that where they hemmed the Petes in the zone. So he thought, they're going to score here. But because it went for so long, he's like, well, I don't want to clip like a 2-minute clip. So he paused it and then immediately turned it back on, and that's what he got. Talk about timing being everything, right? Owen with the quick trigger finger on the record button on the iPhone.
It's hard to find footage of the 2013, 2014.
Right.
Back in the day, it was only like 12 years ago, but you can't find images like that. Hopefully things like the Instagram thing that Owen took would last forever.
It'll last.
You mentioned the procession goal, and the building was actually quiet for a lot of the third period, right?
Yeah,
because
it kind of went to there was a big lull in the action.
Because Peterborough got the 3 goals to take the lead, and then the battalion didn't do a lot to try to tie it up until the last minute 20, and then the building suddenly exploded when they started to put on pressure in the last minute, culminating in Procession's goal.
Peterborough started to lock it down, right? So the coach, Rob Wilson, just ice it if you have to, just get it out. And they were doing that, right? Just putting the battalion to sleep, forcing them to go, win faceoffs in the offensive zone. But that's a 50-50 at best. So
for sure,
just take the chances with the icing, and credit for drawing the penalty on Strohack in the corner, right? That's Procession as well. Gets tripped up by Strohack, and now we go on the power play, 6 skaters against 4. Good puck movement in the O zone and winning key faceoffs, and so that tying goal was that was out of my mind.
Absolutely. All right, we've got a ton of guests on the show, as we said, so let's get rolling through some clips here. You've heard our thoughts on the Peterborough series. Now let's hear what the head coach Ryan Oulahen had to say about the Peterborough series. Bob caught up with him in our Coffee with the Coach segment. So producer Gerald, let's fire up that clip.
Okay, Coffee with Coach episode. I'm not sure what number this is, but we've done a bunch this year, and this is probably the most important one, right? Because you're playing in the second round. Let's go back to round 1 and just let's give a moment. We've had a moment to breathe. That series, we're trying to remember a more competitive series since the battalion moved here, and I can't come up with one. 3 overtime games, comeback wins, shutouts, controversy. It double overtime, almost had triple overtime in Game 6. You got to be so proud of your team, the way they battle through the ups and downs in that series.
Yeah, we are, and It's funny how I kind of had a hunch going into it, because the word I was describing, how we had to handle, that series, was keeping an even keel. Just knowing how tight the teams were matched up, the buildings, their atmosphere, their rink, what it presents. There's a lot of moments in that series that I was really proud of our team for never kind of getting away from things. We certainly had to address things in between games, whether it was trying to stay out of the penalty box, or certainly there's tons of adjustments going on within the series by both coaching staffs. But the moments within the games where we could have got rattled so many different times and stayed the course, having lost 2 overtime games in a row, to go down and then having to win a big one the next one. I mean, just a bunch of different moments in that series that really turned the tide for us. And then, of course, I felt like Game 6 was kind of the whole cumulative of what the whole series was all about. You had everything within one game of different lead changes, penalty calls that you had to deal with, big kills at certain times, and then obviously a hero arised in an unbelievable goal by Parker Vaughan.
Yeah, for Coach Oulahen, and sort of the way the season has gone, right, in terms of, like, you can have those ups and downs, those big changes of momentum in a short series as you do in a regular season. And that's what I found. Both teams got momentum in that series, right? I mean, for Peterborough, they got the 2 big overtime wins.
They did.
For the Battalion, they had to come back with a Game 4 performance, regain home advantage, and even in Game 6, there were switches of momentum. So it really taxed, I think, the mental discipline of the players and the coaching staff, having to deal with just how competitive this series was.
I thought it was really critical that Peterborough was unable to win a game in regulation time, whereas North Bay did. And I think that was a difference in the series. And North Bay just able to win on the road, which is huge in any series where you don't have home ice advantage. I wanted to talk a bit about Ryan's outfit there, because that is a pretty sick sweatshirt that he's got on. I've never seen
like
that one before. He's always got this stuff that's not available
sale.
to the general public. And he's also got. Is he doing the mullet thing?
I don't think so.
What's going on there? Because usually he's got a shortcut like yours
I think he's just growing his hair out a little bit.
in the back.
I don't know if it's going to be a full-on mullet, but
Is he a playoff beard kind of guy? Oh yeah. Is he doing it?
I don't know if he's doing it,
Well,
but
you're standing a foot away from him. Does he?
well, no, he doesn't have a playoff beard, but
did it
yeah, we
smell
may
like he
not
put
have
his
shaved in
aftershave
a
on?
couple of days.
That's what we need to know. Well, we'll get another clip of Ryan's hair right here, because this really was a full team win. You had contributions from just about everyone, and Bob touched on that with Coach Oulahen. So, producer Gerald, let's hear that clip now.
The power play in Game 6 was really the difference in the game, I thought. You guys got 3 power play goals. Your young guys, you mentioned Parker, obviously Cam Warren, and your captain coming through with the biggest goal, really, other than Parker's in overtime. So everyone sort of stepped up. Jack Lisson in net, after you lost Mike for a couple of games, he comes back, and he was outstanding in Game 5, and really a lot of guys contributed.
You could go right through our entire roster, and everybody had a moment in that series. Every single one. It was whether we were going 6 or 7D that night, the forwards that were having to come in or out, or like you talked about, both goaltenders, and then give credit to the staff around me. Nate with the goalies, Billy with the penalty kill was absolutely massive all series long, and then Matt sticking with the power play. There was games where we didn't get a lot of reps. But we kind of knew eventually we had some really good looks, and the power play was doing a really good job, and eventually it was going to come through for us, and did so in a big way. So you're right, it was like everybody kind of contributing, and I think everyone's feeling good about themselves, and now we're ready to take on a bigger challenge here in the Brantford Bulldogs.
Yeah, you mentioned the penalty killing earlier. We were talking about, but how about the power play in Game 6, right? 3 power play goals, and they really needed everything out of their team in this series, and I thought, I mentioned Jack Lisson, but the way he responded after he comes in overtime because of the situation with McIver, and then he just turns it on in net after that, right? Game 4, Game 5, and Game 6. So, yeah, a lot of contributors.
Jack Lisson is the Mary Brown Chicken OHL Player of the Week.
That's right.
I didn't know where you were going.
I didn't know where
that.
you're going with that.
Where else would I go? Oh, wait. We don't have a Mary Brown Chicken here.
We don't. Not in North Bay.
It's
no.
from Newfoundland, I think.
I believe so. We
It's
have a
it's
Popeyes.
Correct.
Yeah. Popeyes is from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Mary Brown's from Newfoundland.
Mary Brown's
correct.
from Newfoundland, so he's the Mary Brown's. He never lost his composure in that game. He is cool, calm, cool, and collected, as they say. And I think that gives the players in front of him a lot of confidence in a different way. Mikey McIver gives confidence because he battles like a Jake Smith style of battler, active in the net. But Jack Lisson is just like a robotic movements, very efficient. And you know, if he can see the puck, he's going to make the stop. So credit to the defenseman to clear out the traffic in front of him and give him a chance to make that save. And so good with his rebound control, too.
He really is. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll break down everything there is to know about the upcoming Battalion and Bulldog series with Game 1 emanating from the TV Civic Center in Brantford. This is Troops Trio, the official podcast of the North Bay Battalion. Welcome back. Troops Trio is proudly sponsored by Happy Dad Beverages and Sports Illustrated Tickets, as well as the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live for a special edition of Troops Trio, recording ahead of our live watch party from the Fox and Fiddle. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you still have time to come down and join us for the game. They've got green beer on tap tonight at the bar as we're getting ready for the Troops and the Bulldogs. If you are watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, including one of our buddies, Jacob, is watching this live from Moncton, and he actually says that Coach Uli is going for the mullet look. I don't know how much that insider information is accurate, but our good buddy Jacob watching from Moncton. So hi, Jacob. Thanks for tuning in. Speaking of being ready for the series, the voice of the Bulldogs, Reed Duthie, was kind enough to take some time out to speak to our own Bob Coles. So let's hear what he had to say about this upcoming series. Producer Gerald, fire up that clip.
Welcome back to the Troops Trio podcast. Pleasure to talk to Reed Duthie, the play-by-play voice on radio and on TV for the Brantford Bulldogs. Well, Reed, first time we've had you on. Looking forward to this, setting up what could be a very interesting playoff series starting Wednesday night.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. This is fantastic, and I'm really excited about this one. I love the way the North Bay Battalion run their franchise. Adam Dennis, John Winstanley, Ryan Oulahen, a ton of respect, I think, between both organizations. I think this is going to be one of the most fun ones all the way along in this playoff series because these two teams just match up so well with each other.
Now, let's talk about how the Bulldogs did. I don't think people were surprised that they won their first round series in 4 over Sudbury. What may have been surprising is how tight the games were. I mean, there was a 6-5 game in there, a 4-2 game, a 2-1 game. There was one lopsided game, but you guys had to come from behind in third periods to win a couple of these games, one in overtime. How do you look back at that series?
I think it was a positive. I think facing some early adversity for a team that's got this many top-end draft picks on it really helped out in terms of them taking a long run. The Sudbury Wolves, I think, got kind of counted out off the beginning of the season. What was a really hard start for them. They were way behind the 8 ball. Looked like they were going to be one of the teams early in the season left out of the playoff structure, and they remade their goaltending. And Paolo Frasca was incredible in the series. Bjorn Bronis played really well in Game 4. And what they did going out at the trade deadline, maneuvering some older players to bring in some youth, combination of J.C. Lemieux, Jan Kovan, and Adam Nemec up front with Jens Ula on the back end, and they were a tough out. And, it was 4 games. The Bulldogs carried the play through most of the 4 games, outshot Sudbury badly at times, but Frasca and Bronis gave them every opportunity to win a hockey game, and the Bulldogs had to play really well on the road to come away with the 2 wins. I think Game 4, it was a 2-1 final, but Sudbury didn't have a shot in the third period for the first 17 minutes. So the Bulldogs really showed what they can do in terms of a 3-zone game, even if they weren't putting up the massive offensive numbers on the road. Now,
North Bay and Brantford played last year. You did that series. The Bulldogs won in 5, but one of the games went in overtime. North Bay took one as well at home. You guys wrapped it up on home ice. Looking back at that series, do you expect a similar series in terms of the style of play, or will there be some surprises?
No, I think in terms of style of play, it's going to be very similar. These two teams are built the same way. They're built on depth. And the last time North Bay Battalion came into this building at TD Civic Center, we saw Evgeny Dubrovtsev centering a 4th line. If that's your 4th line center, you're doing pretty darn well. I just think that the chess game between Ryan Oulahen and Jay McKee is always so much fun. 2 of the premier coaches in the Ontario Hockey League, 2 guys that are going to be behind NHL benches before too long. I think they're going to play tight. I think it's going to be physical. It's going to be fast. They're 2 teams that have that ability to play both sides of that coin. We know how good the Battalion are in their own zone. The Bulldogs are the same way. And you're probably looking at Jack Lisson and Ryerson Leanders. So 2 guys that can stop a puck. I mean, between the 2 of them, I think Lisson might have had 1 game where he allowed 4, and Leanders had 1 where he allowed 5. And other than that, pretty quiet first-round series for both of them. I think it's going to make for a whole lot of fun between these 2 sides.
Now, if there's 3 or 4 keys for the Bulldogs to avoid what people would call an upset, I think, based on the regular season standings, Brantford, the top-rated team in the OHL, according to the rankings, what are things they have to do to avoid that possibility of an upset?
Number 1 is discipline. They got to play 5-on-5. When the Bulldogs play at even strength, they can be an absolutely dominant team because it gives them the ability to roll lines that when you look down the middle of the ice, you're talking Frasca, O'Brien, Malhotra over and over again, and then insert your wingers as you go. If they can keep games 5-on-5, that gives them an advantage. Plus, it keeps the entire defensive group intact as well. Danford, Sandu, Protz, Yudacek, Dravetsky, and Engel. If you can keep rolling through and not having to spot in and out specialists on a penalty kill, or even when you get into power plays and it takes away, the top unit will play a lot of minutes on that top power play, and that can kind of get some of the other guys along the bench a little bit out of rhythm. So I think the Bulldogs would like to play 5-on-5, take advantage of their opportunities when they come. I think 2 is try to take Jack Liston's eyes away. You need to get to the front of the net. You need to win inside ice. If Liston can see it, he's going to stop it. We saw that in the first round facing off with some absolutely gifted shooters like Walton and Novotny. If you don't take his eyes away, if you don't bring bodies to the front of the net, he's going to stop the puck. And he's the kind of guy, I'm a Bruins fan. I grew up watching Jose Theodore steal series from the Boston Bruins. Jack Liston is that kind of goaltender that can do those kind of things. 3, I think it's going to be Ben Danford and Zach Sandu being your shutdown pair. I think when you look at the North Bay Battalion's offensive group, they can be big, they can be physical. I mean, Ethan Procession is such a fun player to watch play the game. I think if you're Danford and Sandu, you're going to have to equal that physicality and make sure that, you're giving as much as you're getting, because when you go back to the corners, some of those guys are coming hot. And I think a fourth one is going to be using home ice advantage. The Bulldogs have lost one time on home ice in regulation throughout this season, and it was a lot of the players were away at the World Junior Hockey Championship. You got home ice advantage by being the top team in the league. You got it because, in large part, you were so good on home ice. If you have to make a team beat you here, that's going to be a big advantage for this Bulldogs team. So you have to use the crowd. You have to use that advantage that you earned through the course of the season. But I always go back to number 1, discipline. Stay out of the penalty box. Don't give the other side excess chances, because North Bay's got enough talent that you give them enough opportunities, they're going to hurt you.
Well, thanks for this, Reed. I know you can have fun for the games in Brantford, and of course there'll be entertaining games, I'm sure, at Bort Longyear Memorial Gardens when you get here on Sunday. So it should be a very exciting series for both markets.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys when I come up. I love coming up to North Bay. It's always, the fans up there are awesome. I love being around the group up there. So looking forward to being there, and good luck to the battalion. Maybe not too much luck, but we'll have some fun along the way here.
Okay, Reed Duthie, the play-by-play voice of the Brantford Bulldogs.
That's a great interview, Bob. I love when you talk to Reed. You've talked to him before. He's always so much information that comes from him. He knows. Very few people know the league as well as Reed, and he does a great job for Brantford. And he's working the crowd, his own crowd, and also North Bay's crowd as well. That's part of the gamesmanship that's going on. It is a tough task, a big hill to climb for North Bay. They roll lines in Brantford. It's almost like a middle-of-the-pack American Hockey League team, what we're going up against. So it is going to be tough. And goaltending, I think, if you want to split the 3 phases of the game, like I like to do, goaltending, they do not have an edge on us. I think we have an edge on them. Defense, they have a solid 6, and it doesn't matter which pairing you're going up against, it's going to be hard work. And so we have to punish them, and I think that's been alluded to. Guys like Procession are going to have to make the defense pay, make them look over their shoulders when they're back retrieving pucks. Their forwards go without saying. They're the most potent offense in the league, the most potent power play that the league has seen ever, I think. And so we can't give them free opportunities with power plays. The penalties have to be controlled. We had twice as many penalties as the Peterborough Petes, and we survived that series as a result because their power play went cold, or our penalty killing was off the charts, both perhaps. You can't count on that happening against Brantford. So it would be a very short series if we're giving up 4 and 5 power plays a game. We have to find a way to play physical, but not reach. Try to skate with them. No reach and retaliate penalties. We have to sort of keep our cool. And we saw in a few cases where some of our veteran players lost their cool, resulting in penalties that we had to fight through. It's a series that won't be a 4-game sweep. I was predicting that it was going to be a 7-game series against Peterborough. I'm thinking that this could be a 6-game series, and if you are coming back to North Bay for Game 6, anything could happen.
Well, yeah, I think North Bay has played them twice, and when they get into penalty trouble, Brantford puts out that power play. And, I mean, there was like 1 month, their power play percentage was 40%. So, 5-on-5, they have a chance because, as you say, I think their goaltending's better. But if 5-on-4, it's not going to happen. So stay out of the box.
Yeah, and again, a shout out to Reed Duthie for doing that. After the Battalion beat Brantford 3-2 in overtime on March 12th at Memorial Gardens, I turned to Reed Duthie and he said to me, I don't think I want to face a Ryan Oulahen coach team in the playoffs. And that was, that was a nice little foreshadowing there from Reed. So we'll see. We got to hear his thoughts on it, but it was interesting to hear his comments back in March. We're also going to hear comments from another play-by-play guy. So Brantford is coming off that sweep from the Sudbury Wolves, eliminating another Northern Ontario team. But Bobby had a chance to catch up with Ryan Love, the Sudbury Wolves play-by-play man. So producer Gerald, let's hear that clip.
Joining us, Ryan Love, the play-by-play voice of the Sudbury Wolves. We've usually seen Ryan at Sudbury visits to Port Longyear Memorial Gardens. Now, of course, you saw the Brantford Bulldogs up close, Ryan. It was a 4-game sweep, but I noticed the Wolves were in 3 of those games, had some third-period leads. So what did you notice about the Bulldogs in terms of how they played those 2 games in Sudbury and the 2 in Brantford?
Well, I can say that they were in all 4 of the games. It was it was 3-2 until about 5 minutes left in game 1, and then everything was tight after that. What I could say that I saw as far as the Bulldogs go, the Wolves can skate with them and whatnot. Brantford definitely has a lot more talent, a lot more older, bigger players and whatnot, obviously, because they are loaded for this year. Lots of 19, 20-year-olds. Very strong, very competent team. The Wolves can skate with them. They don't have the size to compete with them, when it comes to big boy hockey this year. Next year might be a little bit different story, but this year there's a lot of learning that had to go with the Wolves and whatnot, obviously, because there's a lot of first and second year players, whereas Brantford's team is very, very seasoned, right? The major thing that I would say about Brantford is their power play is lethal. They're about 40% during the season, and in game 3 they went 5 for 6 in the power play. So it was unbelievable. So they went and that game ended up 6-5 in overtime, and they had a power play in overtime. So one of the things I would tell anybody is, Brantford's main weapon is their power play, and it doesn't matter which one it is. It's either power play 1, power play 2. They could probably throw out a pretty good power play 3 if they wanted to with that group. But their power plays are lethal. They control the puck very well when they are 5-on-5. But on the other flip side of things, when the going kind of gets rough a little bit, when the grinders are out, when guys like Chase Colgan are throwing their weight around, they don't like that very much. So I think North Bay's got a few more players that are a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and will lean on you a little bit. They're not going to like that very much.
Well, we've seen them 4 times. We won 2 here, and Brantford took care of 2 there. Home ice, do you think that's a big issue in this series?
Home ice can be a big issue. I mean, with our games in Sudbury, we had fairly decent game 4 crowd. Game 3, we had freezing rain and school and whatever else, so it wasn't as busy as it would normally be for a playoff game. But for now, if North Bay fills their barn like they did on game 6, that's going to be very intimidating atmosphere that Brantford's probably not very used to. They're used to it on their side. They sell out every game. I'm not sure if you're familiar with their rink and their attendance and whatever else. They're a small rink. They're about 3,300 rink, and it's but they're full every night. It's a smaller rink as well in Brantford. But if they're to come to North Bay and experience a full house against that could turn the tides a little bit, especially how loud you guys were on Saturday.
You've seen the Battalion, you've seen the Bulldogs up close. In terms of style and pace, these 2 teams, what are you expecting in terms of the approach the teams will have in this series?
Well, Brantford's just going to keep doing what they normally do. They're just going to keep rolling out their lines. They're going to try to keep controlling the puck like they have. They're going to keep trying to, just use their speed and their skill in order to try to you know what, they're just going to try to do what they usually do and wear you down with the depth that they have on their team. North Bay does have to me, with their trades that they made at the deadline to add some older, bigger players. I mean, North Bay does have the depth to match if they can skate with them, and I believe that they can. What Brantford's not going to like from the North Bay standpoint is that they're bigger, so they're going to lean on you a little bit more. They're going to hit a little bit more. North Bay seems to be a little bit more of a of a heavier team than what Sudbury would have been. So Brantford's not going to like that very much, and they're not used to playing that style within their division. There's not a lot of heavy teams in their division, so they don't get a lot of that. What Brantford's going to like about playing against North Bay, and I've seen this in the games that you had against Peterborough, is that, and there's no way to sugarcoat this, taking a lot of stupid penalties. There's no nice way to say it. There are a lot of penalties that were totally unnecessary, and Peterborough's power play wasn't very good at all. Or I could say the North Bay's penalty killing was outstanding, one or the other. So it works both ways. But Brantford's power play, they're going to get theirs. They might not go at the 5-for-6 clip that they were going in Sudbury, and they might not go with a 40% clip. But even if they go on a 25% clip, if you're taking penalties as much as North Bay was in that first series, then you will pay for it this time. So if North Bay can stay out of the box and use their physicality, I think they have a fairly good shot at making the series close.
Let's talk about maybe guys on Brantford that impressed you. They may not be the headline guys, the Marek Van Ackers, the Jake O'Briens, Protz, Dravetsky, Leenders. Were there any other players that sort of surprised you in that the way they performed in the playoffs that maybe don't get the headlines?
Well, you named some of the guys that definitely get the headlines, and one guy that's missing from that group is Caleb Malhotra. Caleb Malhotra was probably their best producer in the playoffs so far, and he's only 17. Like, he's fairly, with all these 18, 19-year-old and 20-year-old players, like Charlie Paquette's another one. When you start mentioning these players and all these vets, I mean, their leading scorer, I believe, were their leading scorers, I should say, were Jake O'Brien and Caleb Malhotra. They were pretty lethal with their even in 5-on-5 or whatnot. They were very noticeable on the ice when they were out and about. Owen Protz, like you say, it's very noticeable. He's not putting a lot of points on the board, but he's a very good shutdown guy when he is on that ice. Ben Danford's going to be back for Brantford, and he was suspended for 2 games for a hit from behind on Rowan Henderson. But like with him in the lineup, that's going to change things a little bit as far as the size and the mobility on the Bulldogs defense. So I guess those are to say that those are the lower lights on the Brantford team. That's kind of saying something, right? Because they can throw out a Marek Van Acker, and they can throw out other stronger players like another one who's was fairly solid defensively on Brantford was Zachary Sandu, and he's the only guy in that blue line, I believe, other than their 7th defenseman, who's not drafted by an NHL team. So even their lower lights are fairly strong players. So it's you know what, if you play physical and stay out of the box, I mean, you're avoiding their bigger lights hurting you. But 5-on-5, I mean, they're deep all the way through.
Well, thanks for this. I'm sure we'll see you next season as the
absolutely
Wolves come to North Bay. Thanks, Ryan, and thanks for this, and give our fans a little look at the Bulldogs before the series starts.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me. Good luck, Battalion.
Thanks, Ryan Love, the Sudbury Wolves broadcast crew.
Yeah, the the Brantford power play scored 9 goals, and they scored 18 goals in the entire series. So literally half of the Bulldogs' goals in that series against the Wolves came on the power play. Just a magnificent area of success for them against the Sudbury Wolves. So we thank Ryan Love for joining us on the Troops Trio podcast there. We'll take one more quick break, and when we come back, we've got our Troops Trio trivia question. We'll hear from North Bay's head coach once again and get his thoughts on the upcoming series. That's all right here on Troops Trio, the official podcast of the North Bay Battalion.
What makes Cogeco so different?
11,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable.
Lit stitch is so easy. Just loop it around.
And we're right around the corner for you.
So I get to talk to someone who gets me.
And we're talking 100% local support on a world-class network. That's how we roll.
Cogeco, your local connection.
Welcome back. Troops Trio is proudly sponsored by Happy Dad Beverages and Sports Illustrated Tickets, as well as the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, the Moose Cookhouse, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight, a special edition of Troops Trio as we're recording this ahead of our watch party, also emanating from the Fox and Fiddle for Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. Here's this week's trivia question. Who scored the game-winning goal for the Battalion the last time they won a playoff series clinching game? So you have to go back and figure out when was the last playoff series win, and in what game did they win that series, and they have to figure out who scored that goal. So put your answer in the comment section for a chance to win a Battalion prize pack. Again, this week's question is, who scored the game-winning goal for the Battalion the last time they won a playoff series clinching game? That's not the only way you can get prizes. We've also got some door prizes here down at the Fox and Fiddle. Not too late to come on down and watch the game live with us. So we're going to know who scored in that game because we know the answer to the trivia question. But another guy who scored in that game was Dallin Wakely, North Bay Battalion alumni, and he was able to join us for a few minutes, not only to talk about his time in North Bay, but his life after the Battalion as well. So producer Gerald, let's hear that from Mr. Wakely now.
Joining us now, former North Bay Battalion forward Dallin Wakely. We'll get to where you are in a moment, but first, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a good time.
Okay, you've had a year of university hockey at Massachusetts Lowell. What's this year been like for you?
It's been great. Obviously getting to know a new group of guys and, learning from a new staff has been, a lot of learning for myself and the group. I think we're a pretty young group. A lot of us are, freshmen this year. So I think next year will be a big step for us, kind of being able to be a big cohort of guys that are going to lead this group moving forward. And, for us, I thought we played pretty well, beat some top ranked teams in our conference and stuff. So definitely a lot to look forward to.
Okay, you're very familiar with playing hockey this time of year. In the OHL, 4 years, of course, 1 with Barrie and 3 with the Battalion. 3 great seasons with the Battalion as far as the team went. Conference finals every year. So what's this time of year like for you as you watch from afar?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different not playing this time around, but obviously I've been, watching all the North Bay games and following along, and they've done a great job so far through the one series, and I think they can keep it going. Obviously, Julie does a pretty good job with those guys, making sure they're dialed and focused on the task at hand. And I know they're going up against a good opponent, but I would never count against the Troops, so it'll be exciting to watch.
Now, what are your favorite memories of? Because you guys went on deep runs every year here. What are your favorite memories that you sort of take away? Maybe it was a game, a goal, a play, just a special moment in the room. What anything's come to mind?
Yeah, there's so much, really. I mean, you said it. 3 years of those runs with such great groups every year. I think that was the most fun part. Was just the group of guys in there. In the constant belief. I think, lucky for me, I was a part of that core that kind of was able to be a part of all 3. So had a lot of fun doing it. Obviously some of my best friends are from those teams with Rome's and Ovi and in the group there. So, we talk about it all the time, just the arena, the crowd, and how fun it is to play in front of those fans in North Bay. So Definitely fun to be a fan now too, and watching the OT winner the other night by Vonner. That was cool stuff. So happy for those guys and fun to watch.
Now we're talking just amongst us here in the room. You know how great that series was against Peterborough. 3 overtime games, winning, as you mentioned, Parker Vaughn's winner in double OT to end this series. Jack Lisson's goaltending. So many stories, but I was talking to Coach Oulahen, and he said it was a very special series win. But he said Game 7 against Barrie a couple of years ago, he said that's probably the closest, in terms of a series. What do you remember about that Barrie series?
Yeah, it was really back and forth, and we had a really good team. So I think for the most of it, we felt pretty good about ourselves. I think listening to the guys there now, they felt the same way in the Peterborough series, where you're pretty confident throughout. You're playing a really good team, but if you just believe in what you're doing, you hope you prevail. And I think for us, that was the kind of messaging going on against Barrie. And I know Uli probably carrying that same messaging now with the boys that, if we do what we need to do on a night in, night out basis, we hopefully get the results. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Hockey's interesting, isn't it, in the sense that in a playoff series, you never really know what the turning point is, right? You think you know, and then something happens, like Jack Lisson had to come off the bench in overtime, and then he had to really lead the way the rest of the way in net. There could be a key injury, a momentum switch. How do you guys handle that during a series where there's so many ups? Do you rely on regular season experience that you're going to go through bad times, good times? Because that can happen like in a 2-week period too.
Yeah, and I think the coaching staff there in North Bay does a great job just with habits and trying to get better 1% every day. I think for us, like my last year in North Bay with Romes and DV going down in net there, faced a similar challenge where backs are against the wall. I think Arnsby got suspended for a few games. So, a lot of times where we could have given up and quit, but I think it's just that belief in everything that we've worked on all season long. And obviously at that point had gone to 2 conference finals. So lots of knowledge to draw on and experience. So, obviously Mike was through it with us. He was the goalie that came in for Dom. And I think with those two in net, there is a pretty strong tandem. And I'm sure Mike is, supporting Jack and it goes both ways. And just in watching that group now, I know there's a lot of young kids that are doing pretty well with Warren and Vaughn and the likes of them. So a really deep group, with those veterans that have been there and then those young guys, pulling their weight too.
Got one more for you. When you're in the, everyone loves the spring hockey, right? It's warmer, especially in the north. And if you're playing in April, that means you're doing pretty well as a team. So what's it like in the community? What was it like in North Bay during those 3 runs where you guys were so close to, getting to your goals? What was it like in North Bay and just seeing people in the community?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I don't really know if we'll ever get to experience a feeling like that again. I think that's what's so special about junior hockey in North Bay, especially like just going out for breakfast or you're out for dinner and you see some of the fans and get to chat with them for a minute and just, share the excitement of the whole experience. I think, everyone feels pretty involved and it's a really, really cool feeling. And I'm not sure, that's replicated outside of junior hockey. So I'm sure those guys are going through it now, and I hope they go on a deep run here.
Well, thanks for this. I know people talk about you and all your buddies, Ty and Dom and Mr. Romani and Van Steensel, and there's just you guys gave the city so many great memories, and you should be proud of that.
Yeah, thank you. I hope hopefully I get through exams here in the next couple of days and couple weeks and get home to see some playoff hockey.
Okay, yeah. We'd love to see you out here.
Yeah, thanks, Bob.
So great to hear from Dallin Wakely. What's a pleasure to watch his OHL career blossom right before our eyes, and hoping nothing but the best for that kid as he pursues his professional career as well. Let's turn our attention back to the matter at hand. Bob, you got to catch up with Coach Oulahen to get his thoughts on a few things about this upcoming series. First of all, the health of the team heading into Brantford tonight. That's got to be a big question.
Well, for sure. I mean, we saw Caden Petrie go down. Barch didn't play in the last game, and so let's go to producer Gerald and play Coach Uli. Yeah, no back-to-backs, and of course we saw Caden Petrie go down with an injury last game. Other than him, how's the health of your team going into this series?
Pretty good. I mean, I won't give too much tell, obviously, but luckily I don't think there's anything serious going on with our group. We do have a couple guys that are obviously banged up, and I think every team is kind of dealing with that. But we've talked about the depth with this group all year long, and we're just kind of status quo, next man up. We got some guys that are chomping at the bit to get in the lineup and can help us. So if that's the case, there's nothing to worry about.
Okay, thanks, Coach, and safe travels and good luck against the Bulldogs.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Head coach of the battalion, Ryan Oulahen. Just wanted to say that, in terms of the lineup tonight, Barch is not in the lineup. Petrie is not in the lineup. We checked the stats earlier, and so they're going with basically a similar defense, same defense, I guess, from Game 6, and then Moses gets moved up in the lineup, so they're going with 12 and 6, but it'll be an adjustment without Petrie in there.
Yeah, so, we've shown that we can win a game with that exact setup. And so when Petrie comes back into the lineup, Barch comes back into the lineup, that's found money. Veterans that can just slot in and play a physical game. That's what we miss with those two guys. With Petrie and Barch, you miss physicality. You miss with Petrie, it's the hard work along the walls where a lot of the battles are won in the playoffs. And with Barch, it's punishing presence in the back end and making their forwards think twice about going to the net, and also making life a bit more comfortable for our own goaltender, Jack Lisson, or Mike McIver, whoever it may be. So those are big losses, but we can overcome. I think we're comfortable with the guys that we have on the ice in about 14 minutes from now.
Yeah, so 14 minutes and a lot to get through still. So good to hear on the injured list side. Now let's get Coach Oulahen's thoughts about the series as a whole. Producer Gerald, what else did Coach Uli have to say?
Let's talk about Brantford. You played them 4 times. You won 2 games here.
My segues are
They
getting
won 2
worse
in their
as the
place.
show goes on.
What did you learn during the season about Brantford that might help you going into this matchup?
Well, probably the most recent 2 are, again, the ones that we've been keen in on the most, because both rosters made improvements, obviously.
Like, as he started walking,
and
he
then
was
down the
ending the
stretch
interview.
run,
I was like, move,
we're trying to
move,
fight
move.
for home ice. They were trying to lock down first place. So those 2 games in particular were heated, were competitive. 2, obviously, again, coaching staffs, organizations that kind of know each other really well just because of the playoff series last year. There are some core guys left over in both teams in that aspect. And then we know, they're an unbelievable offensive powerhouse team in this league. They've done it all year long. And, somebody that, like you said, we have had success against. We're going to have to play with everybody through our lineup. We're going to have to do a lot of things that we're building through the Peterborough series. And I kind of think, and I told the players this yesterday, that the things that we went through in that Peterborough series built us better to now handle and go into this, because as hostile a building that we saw with the Peterborough Memorial Center, I mean, the Civic Center in Brantford is going to be loud, it's going to be crazy, and we're going to have to handle, some emotions in that rink as well. So just overall, looking forward to the challenge here. I know the guys are ready to rock. It's been a quicker turnaround for us, but I do like how the series is starting here already on Wednesday and then goes every other day, which I think bodes us well.
What's interesting is Sudbury won in 4 games. The battalion won Brantford won in 4 games. The battalion won in 6, but only separated by a couple days. Brantford's last game was last Thursday. Battalion, of course, played Saturday night. So there's not a big rust edge for, if you look at that, who got the most rest and who didn't. But, I think the last 2 games have been interesting. Battalion were right in that last game in Brantford. They held a lead very in the 3rd period, and Brantford came back and won it. And the battalion went 2-0 at home against the Bulldogs. So, and they're taking a lot of their confidence into this series by the fact they've Brantford looked a little frustrated when they had the lead in that last game, and the Battalion came back to win. So I think Battalion are going in probably with a little more confidence than a year ago when they made the playoffs, but that was their goal. And I think this year they're going in with a lot of confidence, and they're hoping to get shock the league in this series.
A lot of pressure on Bronson Ride and Adrian Manzo. If indeed the other pairing that we had in Game 6, they're going to see some big assignments. Bronson Ride is going to be leaned on heavily just to be a sheriff back there. Manzo stepped up in a really good way to be his partner. Usually it's Barch. And so that's a big thing to watch today, is how as they get taxed by this wave after wave after wave of forwards that Brantford throws at you late in the game, you can start to make mental mistakes as your physical strength declines. You got to watch that, and so you need good minutes. Think about Carter Kunapaski, though, a 17-year-old now defenseman. He's got to recalibrate against Brantford, is a very different team than Peterborough. He did really well against Peterborough. I like his physicality, but he can't go looking for hits. He's got to wait for the hits to come, but he needs to make those hits, because as I was talking to Nate, the goaltender coach for the Battalion, they view those as investments in this series. You invest in depleting the other team's resolve and their strength when you have those bone-crushing hits, especially when they come across the blue line where Kunapaski excels. Just wait for him to come across the blue line. Don't go skating out to center ice to make those hits.
We do have a question on our YouTube channel from Michelle St. Jean asking if this is where you can watch the game. You can't watch the game on this YouTube channel specifically, but Flow Hockey is airing the Battalion Bulldogs game for free tonight on their YouTube channel, so you don't have to be a Flow Hockey subscriber to see the game tonight. Normally you would be, or be a Your TV subscriber here in North Bay. But you can stay on this channel because we will be doing the live intermissions right here on this channel as we watch along. Or if you're in North Bay, come on down to the Fox and Fiddle and watch it live here with us. All right.
And a bonus on Battalion goals, I will announce the goals for you.
It'll be like we're at Memorial Gardens. Lastly, before we round things out, the GM of the Bulldogs, Spencer Hyman, also took time to chat with us. Bob, you had a very busy week, so we appreciate it. And here, one more time, producer Gerald, hit that clip.
Joining us, the general manager of the Brantford Bulldogs, Spencer Hyman. And Spencer, round 2 is about to begin, and I guess at the Madhouse on Market Wednesday night. You looking forward to this one?
Yeah, we're thrilled and very excited. We have a great opponent coming in North Bay, and I think I said to you earlier in the season I figured we'd see each other at some point, so it should be a great series.
Let's talk about the market you're in right now. A lot of excitement. The stands are full. I'm sure that'll continue in the playoffs. What's the level of excitement in Brantford as the season's gone along here?
Yeah, it's amazing. For any North Bay fans making the trip, you'll see a really lively atmosphere. The fans love our team. The community rallies around the Bulldogs. And what you also see is, next to our current arena, you'll see a construction site because our brand new arena is being built, and they keep progressing on that, which is going to be really cool, and opening in 28-29. So the excitement level here has been very high. It continues to grow, and we're really grateful.
What's been the key, do you think, to getting the community behind the team since you moved there?
You know what? I think really it's just been a special transition with Brantford. There was an OHL team here in the 80s, the Brantford Alexanders, and when the team moved back, I think the community was just so excited. They embraced it, and and then maybe throughout the process just realized how great the hockey is, and supporting these young men on their path and journey to playing well beyond in pro hockey and whatever wherever the game takes them. So I don't know if there's a specific reason, but that the community's been unbelievable, and they love our team.
Yeah, a real success story in the relatively few years you've been there. Round 2 of the playoffs, it seems there's less room out there, right, for both teams. Both teams had interesting routes to to get to this stage. You guys won in 4, but Sudbury gave you a good battle. You had to come from behind. You had to win in overtime. The battalion had a classic junior hockey series, 6 games, 3 going into overtime. I guess we're learning it's difficult to win at this point in the season, isn't it?
Yeah, you take every win and you appreciate every win, and you never take one for granted. With our series with Sudbury, it was a war. It was 4 games, but all of them were close. It was playoff hockey styled, very physical. We're very fortunate that we were able to come away with it, but it was a very good series, and we look forward to another war here, starting with North Bay tomorrow night.
Yeah, we talked to Reed earlier about the Bulldogs and their approach. Let's talk a little from your end about playing North Bay. What are the things that stand out about the battalion?
Well, first off, they've got 2 really good goalies. Jack Liston's been playing unbelievable, and I know Mike McIver was injured, but when he's in, he's a force as well. And they're an extremely well-structured team. I think Uli does a really good job with the group that he has. They play as a 5-man unit. So, for our group, we're expecting, very physical, very tough hockey, and we're excited for the opportunity and the challenge ahead.
Well, start soon, tomorrow night. I'm sure Brantford's all pumped up, ready to go.
Yeah, I think you got 2 very passionate fan bases, and it's great for the OHL and great for the boys that they're going to get support at home, and they're going to get a little bit tougher atmosphere on the road, and I think that's what's great about junior hockey. So when you have 2 great communities coming together to play and support their teams, I think it's a recipe for success for the league.
Okay, thanks, Spencer, and thanks for joining us, and I'm sure we'll see you in North Bay for Game 3.
Okay, thank you again. Keep up the great work.
Spencer Hyman, who's been on twice before, and great guy, great family, the Hyman family, and of course, Zach Hyman plays for the Oilers, and of course, they may be doing a lot of mileage in the Hyman family over the next few weeks with the Bulldogs playing and the Oilers, and seeing Zach, Spencer's brother, play as well. So we thank him for joining us. Really supportive of the podcast, and always great to have him on. And that's the great thing about this series, Matt, is you got 2 markets, smaller markets, who love their team and come out in droves for these games, and it's 2 really good hockey markets, and they've taken over Brantford by storm, and we know the battalion, how important they are in North Bay, so it's going to be a fun series from the community perspective.
If you want to, we're running it up against the clock, but keys to tonight's game, and maybe we can each comment on it. I think, from my perspective, for North Bay, keys to victory are not to let them travel through the neutral zone between the 2 blue lines without a real physical presence, and stopping their defensemen from getting cranked up and going for a skate. We got to keep an eye on Ben Danford, the Toronto Maple Leafs first-round pick. Can't make it easy for them to exit their zone, and even harder to get through the neutral zone. I don't think they like the physical contact. I don't think they like a hard, heavy game, but that's exactly what North Bay has to give them.
Yeah, I agree with that, but also I think the battalion have to be patient. Let's not get into a 6-5, 7-6 kind of game. Not that the battalion can't win it, but that really just opens things up for the Bulldogs, right? That's when the battalion tend to get into trouble, especially on the road. So be patient, be smart, shift by shift, just wear them down, get them frustrated, as Ranjan says, and and rely on what you do really well, which is 5-on-5 play and your goaltending.
Stay out of the box. I mean, if that's something the Sudbury Wolves didn't learn, right? I mean, what were the stats again? They scored 9 of I think they went 9 for 18 or something like that on their power play. Like, it was clicking at something like close to 50% against the Sudbury Wolves. I mean, it was a dominant series on the special teams for the Brantford Bulldogs against the Sudbury Wolves in that first round series. So, I think that that is going to be the key for the North Bay Battalion in this one. And, we saw it play a little bit of a role in the series against the Peterborough Petes, where there were some games, I think, early in the series decided by those penalties. But, North Bay's penalty kill was so good that it almost didn't matter if they were going in the box. I mean, the Petes only scored once on 25 times being shorthanded. So that's not going to be able to be replicated against the Bulldogs, I don't think.
Pete's had a good power play during the regular season.
And they
but
did.
Brantford, they were like top 5 in the league. Brantford's number 1 in the league. Different level altogether. I want to say, you're going to say something, Bobby?
I was just going to say experience. Like half of the Beach team hadn't played in a playoff game before. This Brantford team oozes experience in terms of the playoffs. So that's something the battalion may not be able to take advantage of in terms of experience.
Tremendous strength up the middle. Let's talk about the first 5 minutes of this game. What do you think the troops can expect in that arena tonight? Puck drop in about 7 minutes. Is it a 7:07 like the Blue Jays?
No, it's a 7 o'clock puck drop apparently. So we're being told to
no
wrap it up
Brantford.
here. So
Madhouse first 5 minutes. They got to weather the storm. There's going to be a storm coming.
Absolutely, and just take what they give them and wear them down.
If they're down 1-0 after the first period, that's an advantage for the battalion.
I'd agree.
Stay in the game. That's what you got to do,
Absolutely.
so you don't have to open it up.
All right, that's going to wrap up today's show. Troops Trio, proudly sponsored by Happy Dad Beverages and Sports Illustrated Tickets, as well as the City of North Bay, the Boat North Bay, the Moose Cookhouse, the Clubhouse at Gateway Golf, and the Fox and Fiddle, where we are live tonight. It's not too late. Get down here and come watch the game along with us. Make sure you check out Battalion's social media channels to find out all the latest with Troops Trio. We thank Reed Duthie, Ryan Love, Spencer Hyman, Dallin Wakely, and Ryan Oulahen for joining us on the show. And we're going to get that full interview with Wakely posted on the North Bay Battalion YouTube page. We thank our camera operator, Marley, behind-the-scenes videographer, Caden, show coordinator, Owen, producer, Gerald, and executive producer, Steve Battanti. For Bob Coles and Ranjan Rupal, I'm Matthew Sookram. This has been Troops Trio. Go, Troops, go!
Good job, boys.